Police in Washington, D.C. say DNA evidence on a pizza crust helped them track down the prime suspect in the murders of 4 people whose bodies were found inside a burning mansion. Darren Wint made his first court appearance yesterday, charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. And now we're learning authorities believe he had to have had help. Killed inside that Northwest D.C. home were Savopoulos, his wife Amy, and their 10-year-old son, as well as their housekeeper. Here now with a closer look at the case and any possible accomplices is trial attorney Misty Marris. Misty, good to see you.
Good to see you, Greg.
So apparently he held them inside the mansion for many, many hours, ordered pizza to be delivered, ate a lot of the pizza, and left half a slice. Well, you know, the DNA experts took a look at that, ran tests, and that's how they nabbed the guy. Is that reliable?
That is extremely reliable. DNA evidence these days, this is how we're linking a lot of crimes to the culprit. If we think about Aaron Hernandez, that was bubblegum. Now we have a pizza crust. This saliva DNA, extremely reliable and a direct link to this particular the accused.
Yeah, and jurors, you know, anecdotally, we know they really put a lot of stock in DNA evidence. Now, this guy Wint's former attorney says police clearly have the wrong guy. He said, because this is a lovely person, he wouldn't hurt a fly. Well, you know, this former lawyer seems to have forgotten the 30 brush-ups with the law and convictions. Multiple charges of beating a woman, stabbing a man. He pled guilty to threatening to kill a woman and her infant, and indeed he threatened to murder his own family. So, I mean, is this lawyer just spinning it, or is he incredibly naive and gullible?
I think that you might have the incredibly naive and gullible. The nice guy defense doesn't really work in this particular case, given that criminal history. Not to mention the brutality of this crime that he is linked to.
Just awful.
It is really unbelievable. It's almost as if it's not real. It's a movie script. It's so terrible.
Well, the victims were tortured, including the 10-year-old boy who was stabbed and set on fire. Police suspect that this guy, Darren Wint, had 1 or more accomplices. Does that sound likely to you?
Oh, absolutely. When you really get into the facts of this case, we're talking about 18 hours that the police suspect that they were held captive in this home. 3 adults and a child, bound, gagged, held there for that amount of time. In order to even pull this off, it seems that one person could not be in control of this entire family.
Well, evidence indicates, according to authorities, that Wint was attempting to extort money, and in fact succeeded in extorting $40,000 from the husband and wife. Does that make this felony murder, and why is that significant?
Oh, absolutely. This is a felony murder case. That's when a murder occurs during the commission of an underlying felony. That means we don't have to prove that he had a predetermined intent to kill these people. It's just that this killing occurred during the commission of that extortion, during the commission of that felony, during the commission of that kidnapping. That's going to be very relevant, especially if there are accomplices, because they will be able to be held to the same standard of murder as Wint himself, even if they didn't actually kill the victims. Right.
Now, Wint was on the lam for several days. They finally nabbed him, but they nabbed him in the custody of 2 men and 3 women. They may or may not have been involved. They might have been accomplices, maybe not. But what do you bet they know something incriminating?
Oh, absolutely. I think, for one thing, we can say they were an accomplice after the fact. How could they possibly not know that this man was on the run from the law? We all knew that. I mean, that was widespread. So if they're taking him, trying to get him away from the police, they do have liability in that aspect. Not to mention, 10 grand in the car?
Yeah.
My guess is this guy's not usually walking around with 10 grand in his pocket.
And they've connected the 10 grand to the 40,000 that was extorted. Look, you think there's an interesting angle here with the assistant who dropped off the 40,000 bucks.
I absolutely do, because he recanted on his initial statement almost immediately to police. He first said, you know, I received the call on Thursday, but then a text message shows he actually was contacted by the victim on Wednesday night. He's gone back and forth. He doesn't remember key aspects of when he found out he needed to deliver this money, where he delivered the money to, what the money was was contained in, and I think that's going to raise a lot of questions. They're going to be looking into this.
And just to clarify, this was the assistant to the father and husband who died?
Yes, and he was the assistant who was contacted to get the $40,000 to bring to the home to apparently give to Mr. Wynn.
What an awful case. Awful,
Horrible.
awful. All right, Misty Marris, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you, Greg.